Breaking out of Allen Park right now, I'm hearing and seeing a kind of move that fits this new Detroit Lions era so perfectly that it almost feels too smart not to be real. The type of under-the-radar headline that doesn't melt social media in 5 seconds, but makes every serious fan lean in and say, yeah, that's exactly how a grown-up franchise operates. And if you ride with me here on Lions News Fan Report, you know that this is where you get the updated news, real rumors, and honest breakdowns of everything that touches our beloved Lions. I'm talking about protection, continuity, and respect for the trenches. I'm talking about making sure Jared Goff and this offense are protected deep into January, and I'm talking about a veteran interior lineman who already knows what it means to wear Honolulu blue, who already proved he can handle center, guard, noise, and pressure without begging for headlines. Evan Brown, currently with the Arizona Cardinals, quietly being discussed again in league conversations as a logical, almost seamless fit if the right window opens for a move back to Detroit. Now stay with me because this is not about wild fantasy. This is about timing, contract structure, market value, and the identity of a team that climbed out of irrelevance by investing exactly where a lot of organizations still try to cut corners. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell built this thing from the inside out. Penei Sewell as a tone-setting enforcer, Frank Ragnow as the heartbeat in the middle, a physical run game that leans on you for 4 quarters, play action that punishes any defense that dares to crowd the box, and a standard in the locker room that says, if you're going to wear this jersey, you'd better not lose us games up front. That standard doesn't go away because you've had some success. If anything, it gets stricter, and it's exactly why a name like Evan Brown comes back into focus. Look at his profile. He's played center, he's played guard, he's handled starting duties in multiple spots, he's logged thousands of NFL snaps while allowing very few sacks, and he's already lived this culture shift when Detroit was just starting to turn the corner. He understands the language, the schemes, the tempo, the expectation that you finish blocks, protect your quarterback, and shut your mouth. That is not a luxury piece. That is insurance with real value. From Arizona's side, Brown was brought in to stabilize their own front, and they put money on him, but the league is ruthless and fluid. If their season tilts toward a reset, if young linemen step up, if cap flexibility or draft capital becomes the priority, suddenly a tough, proven versatile interior lineman on a manageable number becomes one of the cleanest trade chips on their board. And this is where Detroit's new status shifts the math. Because we are not hunting miracles anymore, we are hunting margins. You add someone like Brown here, and you're telling the locker room and the league the same thing. This window is real. We're not letting one injury at center or guard pull the plug on what we're building. Schematically, the fit is almost boring in the best possible way. He understands how to operate in wide zone, how to climb to the second level under control, how to anchor against power, how to recognize games and stunts, how to help his tackles and his center find the right calls in a loud building. Drop that into an offense that already has timing and confidence, and you extend the life of every concept. For Jared Goff, it's about trust in the pocket. For the backs, it's about consistent lanes in short yardage and red zone. For the staff, it's about sleeping better in December, knowing that if a starter's ankle or toe flares up, you're not throwing a playoff run on the shoulders of someone who isn't ready. Defenses across the NFC have spent the offseason scripting ways to send interior pressure at Detroit because they know if they don't get Goff uncomfortable early, he will shred them with rhythm and structure. A player like Brown is a direct counterpunch to that plan. And then there's the history that matters. He knows Detroit, Detroit knows him. When you're talking about bringing a veteran into a contending locker room, that familiarity is gold. You're not guessing about mindset. You've seen him answer the bell. You've seen him handle the coaching. You've seen him buy into the grit mentality without treating it like marketing. That reduces risk, and serious teams at this stage of the climb are obsessed with reducing risk. From a business and cap perspective, any real pursuit would have to respect what Arizona committed and what Detroit still wants to do elsewhere on the roster. So let's be clear, nothing is imminent, nothing is official. This is a realistic scenario built on logic, relationships, and need. But if the Cardinals slide into seller mode at the deadline, if their depth chart shifts, if they decide that flipping a veteran interior piece for picks makes more sense than playing out the deal, Detroit is exactly the kind of destination that makes sense. The Lions have the assets to have that conversation without mortgaging the future and have a front office disciplined enough not to overpay for sentiment. That is important. A potential Evan Brown reunion would not be about nostalgia, it would be about execution. On film, his game is exactly what this staff has praised for 4 years. leverage, balance, effort through the whistle, and the ability to play more than one spot at a competent level. In a league where one free rusher can change a season, a guy like that is worth more to a contender than whatever chance you attach to a mid-round pick hitting 3 years from now. And if you're thinking about Frank Ragnow's mileage, you understand even more why this kind of rumor has legs. Detroit has to manage him smartly, has to think beyond one season when it comes to his health, and having someone who can slide inside at a high functional level if needed gives the staff flexibility with snap counts, practice loads, and in-game adjustments. That's how you protect both your center and your season. So when I look at the idea of Evan Brown back in Detroit, my honest read is optimistic. If the numbers line up and the opportunity is real, this is the exact profile of move that aligns with everything this regime has praised for 4 years: leverage, balance, effort through the whistle, and the ability to play more than one spot at a competent level. If it doesn't happen, the blueprint should still look just like this. Now I want to bring you into this because this channel is built on real conversation with Lions fans who understand the game. How do you see this potential move inside the bigger puzzle? Would you be on board with the front office moving a reasonable pick or asset to bring Evan Brown back as a stabilizing presence on the interior, or do you trust the current depth and prefer to save that bullet for another position at the deadline? Drop your opinion down below. Tell me what you'd do if you were sitting in that room with Brad Holmes, because I read what you write, and your perspective helps shape what we discuss here. My closing view on the main story is simple. If Detroit can land Evan Brown at the right price, it's not a flashy headline, it's a smart, tough, winning detail that protects everything this team has built and quietly raises the floor of a roster that expects to be playing deep into January. And remember, this front office has already shown it thinks this way. They locked in core pieces without panic, doubled down on physical identity instead of chasing empty noise, and every move around the margins has carried the same message: we are not going back to being soft in the middle. A potential Brown deal would be another signature of that mindset. You're talking about a veteran who has handled full seasons of starting work, has experience in loud environments, can digest protections quickly, and communicate with his quarterback, and whose contract profile is the kind that can be integrated if trade conditions are handled with discipline. The Lions are now in that lane where veteran linemen actually want to come play. Stable coaching, clear identity, a real path to meaningful football in January. In this case, the familiarity with Detroit and the respect for what this team has become only strengthen the idea that if the door opens, both sides could see the fit. For me, the bottom line is simple. Rumors like Evan Brown to the Lions are exactly the kind of conversation you want to be having as a fan of a contender. Not desperate swings, but targeted, realistic reinforcements that make your strength even stronger. You win in this league by protecting your quarterback, running the ball when everyone in the stadium knows it's coming, and refusing to let injuries expose you at the wrong time. And a move for Brown, if it ever materializes at the right price, would quietly check those boxes and keep this team pointed at real January football. And if you want every credible rumor, every smart breakdown, and every honest update on this team as it chases something bigger, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with me here on Lions News Fan Report so you never miss the moves that shape the future of our Detroit Lions.